Hey everybody, this is Sarah Spencer with the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, and this is Know Your Dogs. The preseason is rapidly coming to a close, and it is time to play some college football. The number 3 Georgia Bulldogs, the defending champions, take on the number 11 Oregon Ducks this Saturday in Atlanta at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Today's episode is going to be a preview of that game. I'm going to be joined by my colleague Chip Towers, Kirby Smart, and some Georgia players, so stay tuned. Welcome back to Know Your Dogs. One unit that has some questions surrounding it heading into this fall, that Georgia defense. That's because it lost 8 starters from last year's championship team. 5 of those guys were drafted in the first round of the NFL draft. Here's what Kirby Smart said about that untested group.
Where are they right now? They're inexperienced, young, and hopefully talented as we think they are players. At some positions more talented than others, but they're in need of playing a game, and I guess you could say that's experience, right? So they're in need of experience, but more so than experience, they need to play in a game. They need good things to happen and reaffirm their good habits, and some of them need maybe something adverse to happen and see how they respond. One
of 3 returning starters on the defense, senior linebacker Nolan Smith, said he's 100% not worried about any drop-off on that side of the ball. Said since he was a little boy watching Jarvis Jones play at UGA, he respects the Georgia tradition on defense, that Georgia can be good on defense year in and year out, even when they lose guys. As a side note, Jarvis Jones was actually at Georgia when I was a student here, so that one cut a little bit deep, but here's what Nolan had to say.
Since I was a little boy watching Jarvis Jones playing, it's always been like a high level of which Georgia defense play. People came to see Georgia defense, you know. Offense sell tickets, defense win games, and that's the ultimate reason why I came here. I want to play for a great defense that was known all over.
One guy who has had an amazing camp for Georgia, senior running back Kenny McIntosh. It seems like Georgia coach Kirby Smart has been bragging on McIntosh for weeks now, whether it is his endurance, his versatility, his speed, his leadership, basically everything. And that's something Georgia is definitely going to need this fall. Here's McIntosh on his growth in camp.
I feel like I said, I've been waiting for this moment. I feel like I played in a lot of big games already, so you know I know I wasn't like the lead back going out there like Zamir, being behind Zamir and Cook. I still went out there and played and did what I had to do, so I've been waiting on this moment my whole life. Like I said, in high school I never had playing in front of thousands of fans and stuff like that, and I've had the opportunity 3 years since a freshman, so them nerves been gone. So for me, I feel like I'm ready.
Kenny is ridiculous. What he does day in and day out, you're out of practice, you might kind of get used to it, and then you really sit back and watch it. Like, he's something special, and I cannot wait to see what he does this Saturday and the upcoming Saturday. So I'm so excited for him and what he's about to do and what he's going to bring to the table for us.
We also spoke with Georgia sophomore wide receiver Ladd McConkey. Here's what he had to say about the Bulldogs receiving room.
I think we have a lot of guys that can make explosive plays. I mean, we're big, we're small, we're fast. I mean, so it's a wide variety, and I think all of us have our skill sets that we can bring to the table. So I think just kind of each one of us have different attributes that we can bring to the table. So I think that's kind of our biggest strength. We all have a little bit of everything, and we all know how to use what we're good at. So.
I'm joined by my colleague Chip Towers here at Sanford Stadium, even though Saturday's game is going to be in Atlanta at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. But hey, we'll take this background, right? Chip, actually, for Georgia-Oregon, Georgia's got a couple familiar faces on Oregon's staff. Tell me what you think about that. Does that add any intrigue?
Yeah, they've got a few fellas over there on that sideline that are familiar with where we are right now, Dooley Field at Sanford Stadium. Dan Lanning, obviously, being here for the last 4 years and being a big part of Georgia's success, is going to know everything there is to know. And then Bo Nix, you know, has played Georgia 3 times. I believe twice was at Jordan-Hare Stadium. He hasn't had great success.
0-3 so far.
0-3 so far, but listen, it hasn't really been because of him. You know, he's played well. In fact, he almost brought him back the first year as a freshman over there at Jordan-Hare, and then, you know, really he was on the run most of the time from that defense the last couple of years in blowout games. So, and it goes deeper than that. I mean, you know, Marshall Malchow and you know, Tosh Lapoy, who's the defensive coordinator, worked with Kirby Smart over at Alabama. There's a lot of familiarity in this game, so there's not going to be a bunch of surprises because of that.
This game is obviously number 3 versus number 11 in Oregon, Georgia the defending champion. So I think maybe, especially in this neck of the woods, it kind of feels like Georgia's a pretty solid favorite, and Georgia can be the favorite, but I mean, crazier things have happened than number 11 beating number 3. So how do you feel like these teams actually match up?
Yeah, I'm still kind of shocked at that line. I mean, you know, coming into game week, it was still holding at 17.5 points. And you think about, you know, Tech and Clemson, I think that line's 21 points or something like that. So that's, you know, Vegas is expecting a blowout. I know Kirby Smart is not expecting a blowout and don't even bring it up to him, right? In any way,
not a big fan of that.
There's been many occasions where a number 11 team or even a not ranked team has knocked off a number 3 ranked team. So Georgia's not going to take anything for granted. And if you look at this game closely, you know, there's some matchups in there that favor the Oregon Ducks.
What are those matchups?
Well, I would say specifically, if you look at Oregon's offense, you know, led by Bo Nix, but their offensive line specifically, that's a veteran bunch. You know, there's 10 guys and they're 2 deep, and 9 of them are lettermen who have started at some time before. 4 of 5 returning starters on the O-line. Those guys are big. You know, the predecessor to Dan Lanning, Mario Cristobal, was an O-line coach, and so that was an emphasis in his recruiting. So they have good guys there. And then on the other side of the ball, you have Georgia with obviously a new defense, new defensive linemen, new linebackers going against a veteran offensive line. I'd put the check in that box to the Oregon Ducks.
Georgia's offense is pretty veteran heavy as well, though. As far as this preseason camp, what offensive players have stood out to you and, you know, Georgia coaches as well?
Yeah, I mean, I love Georgia's offense. I really do think that's going to be the difference. And that's why, you know, I think most people, and me included, aren't as concerned about all the defensive rebuild is because led by Stetson Bennett, the 6th-year senior, who's had a whole year to work with Todd Monken, this offense is going to be built around him, and he has the tools. We'll start with those tight ends. You know, talking to Kirby Smart earlier this week, he was very complimentary of Arik Gilbert. Heck, that's a 5-star they didn't even have last year. Add him to Brock Bowers and Darnell Washington and Oscar Delp, and you realize nobody in the country has a tight end core or anything like that. Kenny McIntosh, a guy you wrote about at AJC.com, has had a fantastic camp by all accounts, and he's ready for a breakout season, I think. And then just talking about that offensive line, I mean, Georgia's reloaded on the O-line and at wide receiver. You know, so I really think Georgia's going to have a big year on the offensive side of the ball, and that's going to give them a chance to win against everybody they play, the Oregon Ducks included.
Chip, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you all for watching. Make sure you check back at AJC.com because we are going to have videos like this all season long, including after Georgia's season opener against Oregon. Chip, thank you.
You're welcome.